Hello, friends, and welcome to Adventures in Pixieland. My name's Amy. I'm an ordained minister, and we're in Bible study. We're in the we're in the Niv, and we will be till the end of the year, the beginning of January 1st, 2026. They'll be able to watch this, but with the KJV. In this video, we're in Leviticus, chapter 22. So it won't be this chapter on January 1st. I have not yet determined if we're going to start with the New Testament or we're going to start at the beginning and we're just going to work our way through. Because we might very well just handle it that way. But we'll see. Chapter 22, verse 1, which is a continuation of rules for priests. The Lord said to Moses, "Tell Aaron and his sons to treat with respect the sacred offerings the Israelites consecrate to me, so they will not profane my holy name. I am the Lord. Say to them, for the generations to come, if any of your descendants is ceremonially unclean and yet comes near the sacred offerings that the Israelites consecrate to the Lord, that person must be cut off from my presence. I am the Lord. If a descendant of Aaron has an infectious skin disease, traditionally leprosy, but it really just meant like every rash was leprosy, not just things falling off like we very dramatically think of in our heads. Or bodily discharge. Okay, bodily discharge. That includes like sweat. Okay, that's a discharge. He may not eat the sacred offerings until he is cleansed. He will also be unclean if he touches something defiled by a corpse or by anyone who has an emission of semen, or if he touches any crawling things that make him unclean, or any person who makes him unclean. Whatever the uncleanness may be, the one who touches any such thing will be unclean till evening. He must not eat any of the sacred offerings until he has bathed himself with water. When the sun goes down, he will be clean, and after that he may eat the sacred offerings, for they are his food. He must not eat anything found dead or torn by wild animals, and so become unclean through it. I am the Lord." So again, what were these boys up to? The priests are to keep my requirements so they do not become guilty and die for treating them with contempt. I am the Lord who makes them holy. No one outside of the priest's family may eat the sacred offering, nor may the guest of any priest or his hired worker eat it. But if the priest buys a slave with money, or if a slave is born in his household, that slave may eat his food. If a priest's daughter marries anyone other than a priest, she may not eat any of the sacred contributions. But if the priest's daughter becomes a widow or is divorced, yet has no children, and she returns to live in her father's house as in her youth, she may eat of her father's food. No unauthorized person, however, may eat of it, any of it. If anyone eats a sacred offering by mistake, he must make restitution to the priest for the offering and add a fifth of the value to it. The priest must not desecrate the sacred offerings the Israelites present to the Lord by allowing them to eat the sacred offerings and so bring upon them guilt requiring payment. So, yeah, you will not scam people using this either. Baked in. I am the Lord who makes them holy. Unacceptable sacrifices. The Lord said to Moses, speak to Aaron and his sons and to all the Israelites and say to them, if any of you, either an Israelite or an alien living in Israel, presents a gift for a burnt offering to the Lord, either to fulfill a vow or as a freewill offering, you must present a male without defect from the cattle, sheep, or goats in order that it may be accepted on your behalf. Do not bring anything with a defect, because it will not be accepted on your behalf. When anyone brings from the herd or the flock a fellowship offering, traditionally called a peace offering, to the Lord to fulfill a special vow or as a freewill offering, it must be without defect or blemish to be acceptable. Do not offer to the Lord the blind, the injured, or the maimed, or anything with warts or festering or running sores. Do not place any of these on the altar as an offering made to the Lord by fire. You may, however, present as a freewill offering an ox, this term means both male and female, or a sheep that is deformed or stunted. Okay. But it will not be accepted in fulfillment of a vow. Okay. You must not offer to the Lord an animal whose testicles are bruised, crushed, torn, or cut. Oh, I'm not sure why this is part of their requirements. You must not do this in your own land, and you must not accept such animals from the hand of a foreigner and offer them as food of your God. They will not be accepted on your behalf because they are deformed and have defects. So, I mean, if you wanted to eat them yourself as the owner, they're not saying you couldn't eat any of those animals if you so chose to. You just can't give them to the temple as an offering. The Lord said to Moses, when a calf, a lamb, or a goat is born, it is to remain with its mother for 7 days. From the 8th day on, it will be acceptable as an offering made to the Lord by fire. Do not slaughter a cow or a sheep and its young on the same day. Okay? When you sacrifice a thank offering to the Lord, sacrifice it in such a way that it will be accepted on your behalf. It must not be eaten. No, it must be. It must be eaten that same day. Leave none of it till morning. I am the Lord. Keep my commands and follow them. I am the Lord. Do not profane my holy name. I must be acknowledged as holy by the Israelites. I am the Lord who makes, and then we have footnote of 8, or made you holy, or who sanctifies you, or who set you apart as holy, and who brought you out of Egypt to be your God. I am the Lord. So, that's a specific set of things going on there. So again, I feel a lot of this time it's very reactionary. Like they're just like we as still do. I live in America where we still are like this. I feel like they're making laws because they didn't know they had to tell people those things. So they're making the laws that, constructed the way they're looking for it to make it better understood. Till the next video, friends. Hello, friends, and welcome to Adventures in Pixieland. My name's Amy. I'm an ordained minister, and we are in Bible study. We are in the Nev, and we will be till the end of 2025. We are in Leviticus chapter 23, and we're doing the whole chapter, which goes to verse 44. It's kind of long, so let's just get right in it. Remember, this is part of the Mosaic Law. The Lord said to Moses, "Speak to the Israelites and say this to them. These are my appointed feasts, the appointed feasts of the Lord, which you are to proclaim as sacred assemblies. The Sabbath. There are 6 days when you may work, but on the 7th day is the Sabbath of rest, a day of sacred assembly. You are not to do any work wherever you live, as it is the Sabbath to the Lord. Okay? The Passover and the unleavened bread. These are the Lord's appointed feasts. The sacred assemblies you are to proclaim at their appointed times. The Lord's Passover begins at twilight on the 14th day of the first month. On the 15th day, now remember their New Year's Day, it's not the same as it is for, North America for certain. Okay, their New Year's starts on Passover, which for us is like the week before Easter. On the 15th day of that month, the Lord's Feast of Unleavened Bread begins. For 7 days you must eat bread made without yeast. On the first day, hold a sacred assembly and do no regular work. For 7 days, present an offering made to the Lord by fire, and on the 7th day, hold a sacred assembly and do no regular work. First fruits. The Lord said to Moses, "Speak to the Israelites and say to them, when you enter the land I am going to give you, and you reap its harvest, bring to the priests a sheaf of the first grain you harvest. He is to wave the sheaf before the Lord, so it will be accepted on your behalf. The priest is to wave it on the day after the Sabbath. On the day you wave the sheaf, you must sacrifice as a burnt offering to the Lord a lamb a year old without defect, together with its grain offering of 2/10 of an ephah of fine flour," which is probably about 4 quarts or 4.5 liters. The ephah of flour. Ephah. I'm saying that better. Okay. Mixed with oil, an offering made to the Lord by fire, a pleasing aroma, and its drink offering of 1/4 of a hin, D, that is about 1 quart or 1 liter, of wine. You must not eat any bread or roasted or new grain until the very day you bring this offering to your God. This is a lasting ordinance for the generations to come wherever you live. So you can't eat anything of what you've harvested until you get this over there. So harvest some for the Lord first, get over there, harvest, give it, and then harvest some more so you guys can eat that night. Feast of Weeks. From the day after the Sabbath, the day you brought the sheaf of the wave offering, count off 7 full weeks. Count 50 days up to the day after the 7th Sabbath, and then present an offering of new grain to the Lord. Wherever you live, bring 2 loaves made of 2/10 of an ephah of fine flour, baked with yeast, as a wave offering of the first fruits to the Lord. Present with this bread 7 male lambs, each a year old without defect, 1 young bull, and 2 rams. They will be a burnt offering to the Lord, together with their grain offering and the drink offering, an offering made by fire, an aroma pleasing to the Lord. Then sacrifice 1 male goat for a sin offering, and 2 lambs, each a year old, for a fellowship offering. And you get E, which is going to be traditionally a peace offering. The priest is to wave the 2 lambs before the Lord as a wave offering, together with the bread of the first fruits. They are a sacred offering to the Lord for the priest. On that same day, you are to proclaim a sacred assembly and do no regular work. This is to be a lasting ordinance for generations to come wherever you live. When you reap the harvest of your land, do not reap to the very edges of your field or gather the gleanings of your harvest. Leave them for the poor and the alien. I am the Lord your God. We're supposed to be kind to aliens in our land, according to Mosaic law. Feasts of the trumpets. Jesus says we're supposed to be kind to people all the time, but according to Mosaic law, we're supposed to be kind to aliens, because once we were aliens in the land ourselves. The Lord said to Moses, say to the Israelites, on the first day of the 7th month, you are to have a day of rest, a sacred assembly commemorated with trumpet blasts. Do no regular work, but present an offering made to the Lord by fire. Day of Atonement. The Lord said to Moses, the 10th day of the 7th month is the Day of Atonement. Hold a sacred assembly and deny yourselves, that is to fast. And present an offering made by the Lord, to the Lord, made by fire. Do not do work on that day, because it is a day of atonement, when atonement is made for you before the Lord your God. Anyone who does not deny himself on that day must be cut off from his people. I will destroy from among you, his people, anyone who does any work on that day. You shall do no work at all. This is a lasting ordinance for generations to come, wherever you live. It is a Sabbath of rest for you, and you must deny yourselves from the evening of the 9th day of the month until the following evening. You are to observe your Sabbath. So from sundown on one day until you are at sundown on the next day. There is a way this works out. You just eat a whole lot. You have a feast right before, and then you fast. And then, by the time the sun is going down, it's like 5, 6 o'clock at night. So it's really like, don't eat for 12 hours, if you will. It seems like it's much longer, but it didn't feel like it to me because I was so overfull, I guess. Feast, I started feeling it at about hour 12, is what I'm saying. Feast of the Tabernacles.
Tomorrow you say something.
All right. Feast of the Tabernacles. The Lord said to Moses, say to the Israelites, on the 15th day of the 7th month, the Lord's Feast of the Tabernacles begins, and it lasts for 7 days. The first day is a sacred assembly. Do no regular work. For 7 days present offerings made to the Lord by fire, and on the 8th day hold a sacred assembly and present an offering made to the Lord by fire. It is a closing assembly. Do no regular work. These are the Lord's appointed feasts, which you are to proclaim as sacred assemblies for bringing offerings made to the Lord by fire. The burnt offerings and the grain offerings, sacrifices and drink offerings required for each day. These offerings are in addition to those for the Lord's Sabbath, and we have these feasts are in addition to the Lord's Sabbath, and these offerings are in addition to your gifts and whatever you have vowed, and all freewill offerings you give to the Lord. So beginning with the 15th day of the 7th month, after you have gathered the crops of the land, celebrate the festival of the Lord for 7 days. And the first day is a day of rest, and on the 8th day is also a day of rest. On the first day, you are to take choice fruits from the trees and palm fronds, leafy branches and poplars, and rejoice before the Lord your God for 7 days. Celebrate this as a festival to the Lord for 7 days. So 7 days of, feasting on these yummy things. This is to be a lasting ordinance for generations to come. Celebrate it in the 7th month. Live in booths for 7 days. All native-born Israelites are to live in booths, so your descendants will know that I had the Israelites live in booths when I brought them out of Egypt. I am the Lord your God. So Moses announced to the Israelites these appointed feasts. So yeah, they do literally mean live outside in a like earthen shelter. Kind of sort of what we would think of as like the manger that Jesus was born in. Just sort of like that. Is that an interesting thought? Hello, friends, and welcome to Adventures in Pixieland. We are happy day after Thanksgiving. Happy Black Friday for people who are here in America. If you're in the banking world, you're probably excited. This is your biggest financial day of the year. So, may all those companies that keep lots of people employed, may they make lots of money today, so a lot of people stay employed. And they can get raises and better quality of life. Because there's nothing wrong with that. See? Independent confirmation in the background. If you're like somebody like me anyway. So, we are in Bible study. We are in the Niv. I know, that creates a lot of emotional reactions. We'll be in it next year, too. But the good news is in 2026, we'll be starting a different one, the KJV, which seems to be the most popular one. I don't know if the version I have is, but I'll tell it. And I'm going to read a bunch of different versions, so it doesn't matter. You can tell me what your favorite versions are down below. I'll put them on the list. I will. I've even got a Catholic Bible over there, and I intend to do that one too. Because it would be interesting to me to see what the differences might be. Now, eventually, these will turn into other sort of like, here, I made a PowerPoint presentation of the different versions of the wording, and let's discuss what that means. Because that is part of the intention of the channel. To really study, right? What does it mean? Because I come back to this, and quite frankly, I ask questions, I have situations the day before. The next morning I come and I sit down and I do the Bible study that I listen to and take notes. And then I come on here and I record these videos and I get my answers. It's not necessarily going to give answers to everybody else, but it works for me. So in this video, we're in Mark chapter 9. We're going to go from verse 1 to verse 32. And then in a separate video, we'll pick up at 33 through 50. So that's why it's about... if I tried to do it directly in half, we'd be in the middle of a parable. Or it's not really a parable, but, a heading. And I don't like that. I like to keep them grouped together. It's not real big in the middle of the story. So, chapter 9, verse 1. And he said to them, I tell you the truth. Some of you who are standing here will not taste death before they see the kingdom of God come with power. Okay, some of you will be alive. The transfiguration, verse 2. After 6 days, Jesus took Peter, James, and John with him and led them up a high mountain where they were all alone. There he was transfigured before them. His clothes became dazzling white, whiter than anyone in the world could bleach them. The sunlight pulling through, right? And I don't... word bleach there. And there appeared before him Elijah, Moses, and Moses, who were talking to Jesus. So again, we would cover that with the Matthew. This is like that moment in which, you see Anakin, Yoda, and like Obi-Wan, and then now they have Qui-Gon, right? Yeah, Qui-Gon in there. It's like that moment. Like the band's back together. The holy holies of faith are there. Okay? Peter said to Jesus, Rabbi, it is good for us to be here. Let us put up 3 shelters, one for you, one for Moses, and one for Elijah. He did not know what to say. They were so frightened. Yeah, so I'm sure they would have been in very high levels of shock, right? But trying, like clearly Peter's trying to not be afraid, because this is after Jesus called them his rock, right? And he's trying to figure out even what that means, and he gets to see this is not pretend. This is for reals, right? I mean, he's having experiences that he has no other way to explain. That's why he came to the fact that he's the Messiah so quickly. Like, no, there's no human, no prophets before you could do these things. These things that you're doing, they're unique to you. This, you're the Messiah. I mean, and it was just that simple for him. So he's trying to, because it's a certain celebration. It's called Sukkot. They build an outdoor structure to, in honor of, the trek their ancestors had to make when they had to live in the wilderness and everything. So they make it out of things from the wilderness. Okay. Then a cloud appeared. Like, mostly, if you want it for a Christian reference, it's a certain type of how they like to depict the manger, where it looks like it was sort of just thrown together, and it sort of had like, a thatch or leaf roofs or something like that. That's kind of what a Sukkot, but it would be open in the front. That's kind of what a Sukkot structure would sort of look like. If you were going to have it open in the front anyway. It would have a similar appearance to I'm reminded of this because I'm going to be putting up my nativity scene later, after this, really. I start decorating for Christmas. Because, celebration of Jesus. And I get to decorate my whole house in a celebration of Jesus. Yeah. So it means there's no Santa Clauses here. It doesn't mean there's no garland or no lights or no of the other festive things. But the first thing that goes up is the nativity scene. And someone yesterday, my friend Joey, he's like my son. He's so dear to my heart. He gifted me with like this little nativity book that is the story of Christmas. And it came with these little satchels of frankincense and myrrh and this little jar of like gold flakes in it. So I'm going to like stick it in the manger with the everything else. With the, with the baby Jesus and, because my nativity has all the figures, but it doesn't really have gifts in there that I can put in there. So now I have gifts I can put in there. Isn't that lovely? I got that on Thanksgiving, so that was my heart. And it was good, too. I needed that. Verse 7. Then a cloud appeared and enveloped them, and a voice came from the cloud. This is my son, whom I love. Listen to him. Suddenly, when they looked around, they no longer saw anyone with him except Jesus. As they were coming down the mountain, Jesus gave them orders not to tell anyone what they had seen until the Son of Man had risen from the dead. Okay. They kept the matter to themselves, discussing what rising from the dead meant. And then they asked him, why do the teachers of the law say Elijah must come first? Jesus replied, to be sure, Elijah does come first and restores all things. Why then is it written that the Son of Man must suffer much and be rejected? But I tell you, Elijah has come, and they have done to him everything they wished, just as it was written about him. Because Elijah was John the Baptist, but that's in Matthew, but note how it's not here in Mark. Huh? The healing of a boy with an evil spirit. Verse 14. When they came to the other disciples, they saw a large crowd around them and the teachers of the law arguing with them. Oh, that's not good. As soon as the people saw Jesus, they were overwhelmed with wonder and ran to greet him. What are you arguing with them about? He asked. A man in the crowd answered, Teacher, I brought my son, who is possessed by a spirit that has robbed him of speech. Whenever it seizes him, it throws him to the ground. He foams at the mouth, gnashes at the teeth, and becomes rigid. So he has a seizure. Those are all symptoms of a seizure. I asked your disciples to drive out the spirit, but they could not. O unbelieving generation, Jesus replied, how long shall I stay with you? How long shall I put up with you? Bring the boy to me. So they brought the boy to him. When the spirit saw Jesus, it immediately threw the boy on into a convulsion. He fell on the ground, rolled around, foaming at the mouth. Jesus asked the boy's father, "How long has he been like this?" "From childhood," he answered. "It has often thrown him into the fire or water to kill him. But if you can do anything, take pity on us and help us." "If you can," said Jesus, "everything is possible for him who believes." Immediately the boy's father exclaimed, "I do believe. Help me overcome my unbelief." When Jesus saw the crowd was running to the scene, he rebuked the evil, or unclean, Greek for unclean, spirit. "You deaf and mute spirit, I command you, come out of him and never enter him again." The spirit shrieked, convulsed him violently, and came out. The boy looked so much like a corpse that many said he is dead. But Jesus took him by the hand and lifted him to his feet, and he stood up. After Jesus had gone indoors, his disciples asked him out privately, "Why couldn't we drive it out?" He replied, "This kind come out only with a prayer." Some manuscripts, prayer and fasting. They left that place and passed through Galilee. Jesus did not want anyone to know where they were, because he was teaching his disciples. He said to them, "The Son of Man is going to be betrayed into the hands of men. They will kill him, and after 3 days he will rise." But they did not understand what he meant and were afraid to ask him about it. But he does sometimes come back and be like, "Are you dumb?" So I can understand why one wouldn't want to be rebuked. You know, I've always been a sit in front of the class, the one the teacher leaves in charge of the room kind of student. So I can understand why they might be afraid to ask. But yeah, so if it's like a demon, so then authority, prayer, yes, always prayer, because it only is by his will that we can do anything. But with authority, the prayer, like as if you know God's going to say yes, because he would never want anybody to be tortured by a demon. And it's that kind of faith. And then there's the kind that comes when somebody's ailing from something, right? Where they're physically getting hurt. Then it's a prayer for mercy, right? So he still addressed, seizures like it was a separate spirit. And I sort of look at diseases in much that same way, personally. Maybe that's where I get it from in the first place. Because I do light prayer candles for people when they ask. You know, I am a minister. This is church. So I have a spot in my house that, when we are lighting candles in hopes that people get sick or get through something or for, protection or whatever it is that they're looking for. It's always done with prayer in the Spirit of the Lord and Heavenly Father, please, whatever it is, because it's going to change. Prayer is always good. But those prayers are, we always want it to be within God's will, and so we have to word it that way. But those prayers are usually more like pleading, because you want this person to get better, as opposed to commanding, which is what you do with an evil spirit. You can't leave room for it to have the possibility of sticking around. So let's remember that there are different types of energies for different situations, and it's not a one-stop shop for how we're supposed to respond to each individual. Everybody's got their own thoughts and feelings, and all those things have to be respected, unless what you want is for that person or entity to simply leave and not return. Hello, friends, and welcome to Adventures in Pixieland. My name's Amy, and I'm an ordained minister. And we are in Bible study. We are in Psalms, Book 2, Psalm 44. This is a long one. So we're only doing verses 1 through 8. And you'll have to come back tomorrow to hear the rest of it. Psalm 44 for the director of music of the sons of Korah, a maskil. We have heard with our ears, O God. Our fathers have told us what you did in their days, in the days long ago. With your hand, you drove out the nations and planted our fathers. You crushed the peoples and made our fathers flourish. It was not by their swords that they won the land, nor did their arm bring them victory. It was your right hand, your arm, and in the light of your face, for you loved them. You are my King and my God, whose decrees victories for Jacob, who decrees victories for Jacob. Through you, we push back our enemies. Through your name, we trample our foes. I do not trust in my bow. My sword does not bring me victory. But you give us victory over our enemies. You put our adversaries to shame. In God, we make our boasts all day long. And we will praise your name forever. Selah.